Now, a name that's much more easy to pronounce. Tim O'Day, welcome to Capital Events.
Thank you, Tony.
Now, I want to know what the difference is between the organisation you look after in film and television and radio and that which is opposite us here in Wireless Hill Park, the museum. Could you explain?
Okay. Yeah, our organisation is going by the name of Pictures in Motion Museum of Film and Television.
Right.
There's actually no radio component to it.
Okay,
Yeah.
so the visual is what we're after.
Yeah, yeah. And we were set up 20 years ago by a group of people who came mostly out of the cinema industry.
Like Darryl Binning.
Yeah, Darryl Binning.
Who we must congratulate today. He was named in the Australia Day Honours list with an OAM. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, so Darryl and a group of people from the cinema industry, they recognised very early that cinemas and drive-ins were closing down and basically getting rid of equipment.
Right.
You know, they were closing down and upgrading to newer technology. And that equipment, in some cases, were going to the tip. And a lot of it was had a really long history in Perth.
That heritage thing.
Yeah, real heritage, from theatres and drive-ins and from travelling picture show men, as they used to call them in those days. So they started collecting that to just preserve it, keep it, save it being lost altogether. And then along the way came some people from television, and they realised that there was the same sort of thing happening in the television stations in Western Australia, where equipment was being upgraded and the old equipment was, in some cases, ending up on the tip again or put away in sheds and that sort of thing, never to be found again. So they brought together those two industries to collect all of this equipment and memorabilia that was being shelved out. Then, at about the same time, here at Wireless Hill, there was a museum set up by the City of Melville, and that what was in the hall opposite us here. So that museum then was basically television.
Yeah.
But they had that museum operating and had some very significant equipment from television stations in it. And what happened later on was the City of Melville decided that it wasn't their core business, so to speak. Yes. And so just about all of that television memorabilia was transferred to the Pictures in Motion collection.
Yes. So, Tim, your background is very much in the industry. Just very briefly, just explain where that background took you.
Strangely enough, I started out with the Overseas Telecommunications Commission, which took over this site.
Of course.
a long time ago. Yeah. And then I moved into television at Channel 7 and as a technician initially, and then I became Chief Engineer, then Director of Engineering, and then Director of Engineering and Station Manager. And I was there for 24 years.
Yep.
Yeah.
So you sort of you dabbled in the industry.
Yeah. I also moved on after that to head up as Technical Project Manager on the ABC's move from Adelaide Terrace over to Field Street.
Oh, right,
so
right.
I kept my hand in.
You're both eyes looking.
Yeah.
Now, I know, Tim, you were part of the big exhibition that's on across just near us here in Melville, in Wireless Hill. Very briefly again, what's that exhibition?
That exhibition is television news in Western Australia and how it evolved, from 1959 when Channel 7 opened through to basically now, and how we went through a film era of everything being shot on film, and then all the processes behind that to get it to air. And we've actually got a camera in there, which is
Right.
one of the original cameras that was used on the opening of Channel 7, but also their first news bulletin.
And how long is that exhibition going for?
Runs until May 5th.
Oh, so there's good time for you
Yeah,
to get to it and see it.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah. Wednesdays to Sundays,
Yep.
10 a.m, I think is the...
Yeah, Greg
Yeah.
and Maggie will check on that, and
Yeah.
anybody who rings 93649 can get that information from Greg or Maggie.
Yeah.
Now, so you actually were instrumental in the opening ceremony there.
Yes, for all my sins, I suppose, I actually opened it.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Now, okay, your own collection, I know from people I've worked with myself and have been involved in what you're on about, your collection is now very much in need of a new home.
It certainly is. Our collection is currently stored, and there's a little bit of work maintain the equipment in
Yes.
particular in the collection to a standard that we could display, similar to what we've got next door. And that is in a building in the heritage listed Sunset Hospital site
Yes.
in Dalkeith. And we have one building that is now chock-a-block.
Yes, I can imagine.
You can hardly move in it.
Yeah, yeah.
We have something in the vicinity of 3,000 items,
Yes.
plus a film library of around about 5,000 titles, 16mm film. And so everything is in that building, and that building is part of the heritage listing of that total site, the whole of the Sunset Hospital site. And it's run by the government through the Department of Local Government and Sport and Cultural Industries.
That's right. Yeah, it's
yeah.
Used to be nice and easy. It was always
Yeah,
the Department of the Arts. Right?
Yeah, and just in the last year, we've been advised. We had an arrangement through Screen West, where we actually had a licence to occupy that particular building, and we made a submission on gaining access to another building in that complex. They called for expressions of interest and we responded.
Yeah.
And unfortunately we were unsuccessful in getting that. But now the department has actually advised us, and we've had to go into a new licence which lasts until November this year.
I see.
And
then something else is going to happen there.
Yeah, then they've got a proposal to completely refurbish the site, basically, or restore the site back to its heritage state.
That means you're looking for a new home.
That's right.
Tell me, Tim, I'm probably talking out of the back of my head, but at one stage I understood, for instance, that the Basil Kirk studio in Adelaide Terrace, old ABC, was earmarked that it couldn't be destroyed.
That's right.
Is that not a possible site?
It's heritage listed. It's currently owned by private developers.
Okay.
And
they want to develop.
Well, they wanted to develop it.
Sorry, I'm putting you on the spot.
Yeah, they wanted to develop it, but because of the heritage listing, I think it's got very difficult for them, and they've actually got the site on the market, for tens of millions of dollars.
Oh, just your pocket money.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but would that sort of site? I'm not suggesting that is the right one, but would that sort of building size be adequate?
Oh, yeah, that site would be
Ideal.
more than adequate.
Yeah.
And that's the problem, is we need, just for storage, we need at least 800 square metres.
Mm-hmm.
And then we need workspace, and then you think about exhibition space, so that...
the other thing that dabbles into my mind is that we've just heard a great political clapping of hands with the building of the studios for making films and so on. Be rather nice if they included in that complex something of what you're speaking.
Yes, we have actually been in discussions with them, but
nothing.
No, they, it's a new site. It will be a commercial site, and basically, if it's not used for
Okay.
producing film,
Are
programs.
you a pessimist or an optimist about the outcome for a new home for you?
I'm an optimist because I have to be, only because this collection that we've got, if we can't find suitable accommodation, whether it be through the department or through the government,
Yes.
or by other benefactors, I guess you'd call them, we then that collection could be lost. Could be lost. It could. Some of it could end up on the tip. Some of it, back in the sheds where individuals were storing it, but as a collection,
Of a collection of our television and film history, would be, I think it would be criminal for any government of any colour or any local government of any colour to ignore and at least come up with some ideas for you.
Yes, that's right.
Yeah.
There's, of course, the WA Museum. We've had discussion with them as well.
Of course.
But once again, they've got a warehouse that is full. There's no room even in that.
Tim, will you keep us posted? I'm being serious,
for sure,
so that we know what the next steps, hopefully being positive ones, will occur.
Yeah.
And if they're not, come and have a good old rant.
Yeah, of course, we'd love to have someone respond
Today. Yes.
and or even on Monday.
Yes, indeed. Well, Tim, all the very best. And as I say, don't go away too far, and come and let us know what is actually happening.
We will.
Right,
We
thanks,
will.
Tim O'Day. Thanks indeed for coming in.